Welcome to episode 10 of Street Scene Power Hour. We've hit a milestone of 10 episodes, so hopefully we'll have a million more. We've got Rick Guerrera, the guy that has a car that never runs.
That's always something wrong with it.
We have Larry Ward, who is happily retired now
Yay!
from regular job, so he can join us more often.
Uh-huh.
And we have guest Pat Mogavero. He is, let me get this right, the Motorcycle Sport Touring Association, correct?
Correct, yes.
And we have local legend, and everybody knows Dick Frost. Dick Frost is here with us also. So welcome everyone to
Welcome, guys.
Welcome to our Memorial Day weekend coming up special.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, we have to mention, if you're going to see this right before Memorial Day, Rick and I will be out at, what show is that?
That's Papa Dave's.
Papa Dave's show. Papa Dave's.
Dave.
So we're going to be out there
Yeah.
recording a new episode of Street Scene. So you guys want to come out? If you're out, if you're not, come out to the next show.
That'll be at the Treasure Flea Market over at 5150 Youngstown Warren Road in Niles.
All right. So
you can listen to DJ Rick.
Yep, we'll be there recording a show. Big Rick will be there, and hope to see you guys there. If not, we got more shows coming up. So, Larry, take it away. What have you got for us here?
Well, I'm very pleased to have as our first guest, Pat Mogavero, who is the president of the Motorcycle Sport Touring Association. And I'd like Pat to start off with telling him a little bit about himself and about the Motorcycle Sport Touring Association and what it is and, how you can find out a little bit more about it. And then we'll move on to the STAR, which is our annual big get-together rally. Pat?
Okay. The Motorcycle Sport Touring Association is a chartered club with the AMA and the BMWRA. It's an all brands club. It's been in existence since 1982. We put together local chapters who hold weekend events, rides, what have you, but we also do quite a few regional events where people will come in from different areas of the country to get together for a weekend. And then we have a national event called our STAR, Sport Touring Association Rendezvous, is what it stands for. We do that once a year in either the eastern or western part of the United States. The club has a website, www.ridemsta.com. There's a forum connected with that. We have a Facebook group, which is simply MSTA Motorcycle Sport Touring Association. We've got about 4,000 members of the Facebook group, and so it's growing in leaps and bounds on it. We've been doing these rallies, and a lot of the local rallies will have 50 to 150 people, whereas at STAR, our national, we can get anywhere from 350 to 550 people show up. People will ride in from all over the country. We have people come to California. We have people that come from all over. It's about a 4 or 5 day event. Are we going?
I'm sorry,
okay?
Pat. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Hey, Pat, where are you guys based out of?
Well, we're national. We're not really based out of anywhere.
Oh, okay.
I live in northern Kentucky.
Okay.
And have been the president now for a couple of years. We generally do like a 3 to 5 year term, but we have chapters in virtually every state, and we have members in every state. We have members in Canada, members in Mexico, members in overseas in Europe that will sometimes come into our rallies here in the United States. So we're not really just in one area. We're an international, but mainly a national group.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the STAR rally coming up here July the 13th for the 4 days in a row. Tell us about the location and a little bit about the event itself.
Well, the location this year is at the Canaan Valley Resort and Conference Center in West Virginia, located up in the northeast part of West Virginia, up in the mountains. Primarily, it's a ski resort area, but we're using it in the summer because of all the outstanding roads in West Virginia, and especially in that area of West Virginia. The event starts off Sunday evening with its official beginning, but people will start arriving as early as Thursday. We provide the members and guests, and it's open to anybody. You do not have to be an MSTA member to attend any of our events. We open them up to everybody on it, but we will provide suggested routes. You can choose one of about 15 different suggested road routes and one of 6 different adventure routes. So we have a lot of people that bring 2 bikes, may trailer in and bring 2 bikes, a street bike and a dual sport bike. And people go out and pretty much ride all day, choose the route they want, the people they want to go ride with on it. And then we'll get back in the evening and we'll have dinner and socialize. And we have seminars, and Monday night we have a cookout going on. We have a banquet at the end of the rally on Wednesday evening. But people will pretty much do what they want to do, hang out in the parking lot, kick tires, tell lies, tell stories. All the things we typically do.
Sure.
And then, like I said, we'll have some seminars generally from different people in industry. We've had people come in and put riding clinics on. We've had people come in and talk about safety. We've had people come in and talk about tires, batteries. We're motorcycle people. We like it all on it. Really a bunch of gearheads. Most of the people I'd say can't decide whether they like cars or motorcycles better, but I like them all myself.
That's it. It's great.
And,
me too.
Yeah, it's a good time for everybody. Very laid back. We don't tell people what to do, where to eat. There's several choices there at the resort. There's places outside the resort. We've got, at the present time, we have the lodge filled. We have all the cabins filled. We have all of the campsites filled, and we're going into overflow in some of the small mom and pop hotels and motels in that general area. So it should be a great time.
All right. Well, great. Well, we lost Larry. Let me get him back in here. But let me ask this question, Pat. Any limitations on what type of motorcycle you could have?
No.
Just anything?
Absolutely not. Although we started out as the Honda Sport Touring Association, about 15 years ago, we decided to change our name to just Motorcycle Sport Touring Association. And part of that was because you go to our rallies and half the bikes would be BMWs and some of them be Yamahas or Harley Davidsons. We said, let's just change the name to reflect who we really are on it. So we have people that come in on virtually every type of motorcycle.
Good.
What's it cost, Pat, to do this?
Well, this rally is $100, but that includes your Monday night cookout and your Wednesday night banquet. So those meals are taken care of. Many times we'll also, at our national event, have the breakfast included, but we didn't do that this time because the room rate would have been way too high. The room rate we got was $99 a night. And then the cabins are, 2, 3, 4 bedroom cabins. And when you start putting people in there, you get down to, where you're spending the night for $45, $50 a night.
That's good.
But
cabins are usually neat too.
Yeah. And, we have one other big thing that we have every year that we do as a fundraiser for the club is we raffle off a motorcycle.
Wow.
This year it is a Honda NC 750X. Last year it was a Suzuki V-Strom, and the year before that it was a Honda Goldwing.
Wow.
Are these new ones?
These new ones, brand new ones.
Yikes.
And we actually start doing this raffle sales the first of the year, and we do the drawing there at Star at the end of the Wednesday night banquet.
That could be a problem if you win, though. How would you get it home?
No, because actually,
Not really.
actually we bought.
Never a problem.
That's not really a problem. we're buying the bike directly from Honda, and they're going to deliver it to your local dealer and take care of all the prep and setup and freight and everything else.
Oh, isn't that neat? That's great.
It's a great deal. They're very, very good to us. There was several years back when we had a star up in Vermont, the person that won it from Northeast Ohio actually had a problem with his Honda VFR in the electrical system, not that uncommon, I guess, and ended up having to ride the BMW he had just won back to Northeast Ohio, run a truck and come back and pick up his broken down motorcycle. Worked out really well for him.
Yeah, saved his butt, in other words.
I know.
Sure.
Well, it always happened that way.
Any kids involved in this at all?
Beg your pardon?
Any kids involved, families like?
Oh, yeah, a lot of people especially our national event, it's a family vacation. And that's one of the reasons we chose the Canaan Valley Resort, is that there's, indoor and outdoor swimming pools. There's a golf course right there. There's horseback riding. There's archery. There's hiking. There's fishing. There's all kinds of things for the family. So a lot of people will bring their kids or, their wife, or they'll come as a couple, or they'll ride separate bikes or ride together. Got one friend of mine from the area coming. Her husband doesn't ride. She does. He's bringing his golf clubs. She's bringing her motorcycle.
That's a switch there. It's
Can you camp out if you want?
Yeah, there's camping. There's camping on site. The resort has 34 or 35 campsites right there on the grounds. There's another, Blackwater Falls is right up the road. And some of you may remember the old Blackwater rally, dual sport rally from many years ago on it. That was held right there for many years. And then there's other camping areas and cabins and chalets and everything else to rent in that area. It's really a great area to go to and vacation.
well,
I'd like to point out that there's with MSTA being a national organization, they have regional chapters in practically every state. And the big difference between the Star Annual Rally and the weekend rallies that go on, like I'll be joining Pat coming up, I think in July. He has a rally. What is it? The Red River Gorge Rally?
Red River Gorge, yes.
And that is Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Whereas because this is a large national event, people will be could be coming from as far away as California. They begin the rally on Sunday night and they end it on Thursday. That gives people an opportunity to get back home if they're 1,500, 2,000 miles away. But as he said, that Canaan Valley area, that is home of some of the best, fastest curves, good riding, beautiful scenery. And over in a town in Blackwater right there, they used to have the Blackwater 100, which was one of the most famous off-road hardcore racing. And Mark Fredette, who is
what state we in, Larry? What state we in? I lost
West Virginia.
West Virginia, okay.
And Mark Fredette was the last guy, I think, to win that. He's a AMA Hall of Fame guy, and he's also the team manager for KTM now and their off-road exploits. But I know from attending the various stars that it is a wonderful time. They take a great amount of time to pick the location, and everybody should have a great time. Ride MSTA, is it .com, Pat?
.com, yes.
Okay, that sounds good.
well,
Any other questions, guys?
yeah. How long, mileage wise, from start to finish of this rally? How far is that?
Well, like I said, we have several different routes that you can choose from to ride while you're there. There's some short ones that might be 50 or 60 miles. There's other ones that might be over 300.
Okay.
And of course, you can choose to not do any of them and do your own ride. I would say that the average person will be out riding. We're talking about road riding here, probably 200 miles a day.
That's a good haul.
Yeah. And then the guys that are doing dual sport may do 100 to 150 on the gravel roads.
Okay.
Depends on how often you want to stop, where you want to stop. how early you want to get going in the morning, how late you want to go in the afternoon.
Do you like have it all mapped out, saying where to stop at if you want to
Yeah,
stop
like
some
I said, we have
interesting sites?
Yeah, the routes are
Mhm.
on, they're available as GPX for people that use the GPS system. We have printed ones available that give turn-by-turn instructions, maps available. We'll have, and this is all made up. In fact, I want to shout out to Brian Holmes, John Gregory, and Norm Kern. Brian and John are local West Virginia people that put together all the off-road and road routes. Norm Kern has a website set up where you can actually access all the route information ahead of time. And that's been sent out to all the people that are registered to come to the event. It's also available on our website and on our Facebook page for the event. So, you know, I have a little story here. We have a gentleman that used to come every year. He's still a member. He just turned 101 this year. Lives in
Oh, yikes.
California.
Wow.
And up until about 7-8 years ago, he rode to the event every year since 1983. 83 was the
California.
first year from
Yeah.
California, no matter where it was. He would ride cross country. He would sit himself down, and he would not hop back on the bike till it was time to go back to California.
Yeah, I think you did enough riding. Yeah.
But he had a great
Right.
time. You know?
Sure, good.
He said, I did
That's
enough
cool.
riding getting here. It's going to take me a week and a half to get back home. I'm talking about 85, 90-year-old gentlemen, you know.
I'd like to do that in the car when I'm that old, you know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Do that in the car, period. Well, I tell you what, Pat, we'll get back to you in a minute. We want to hit on Dick Frost is here with us. He is. Dick, why don't you tell us? You know, you have been in charge of the Quaker Steak and Lube show for years, and you know what's recently changed in that one.
I want to go back to one for just a second. I got to tell you, I think that's a hell of an event for not a whole lot of money. Boy, that sounds like a ball. Like a
Yeah,
rock.
it sure does. Yeah.
The
It
Lube
is.
didn't cruise last year because of the pandemic. Last year would have been our 15th year, and we did not. The restaurant opened up on a Wednesday. We did our very first car cruise the following Sunday with about 100 cars. Following weekend, we had a full parking lot. It was the same for 14 years. I've backed out of it a bit this year. The event's going to remain exactly the same, exactly how it's been. They're running exactly the same way, and I've been down there to get these guys kicked off. And the times that I've been there, and I've been there for everyone so far, we're right back to a full parking lot again.
That one seems to get more attention than the Boardman one for some reason. The Boardman one's okay, but the Austintown one, it's great. There's just a ton of, how many cars can you fit in there?
Oh gosh, when we've had the Nationals follow us, and we've had the Harley Davidson lot, we missed 1,000 cars, but not by much.
Wow.
Most parking lot at night's probably about 400, I would say. And
And you get some nice ones there, I'll tell you, some beauties.
I believe the success there was Sunday nights.
Mhm.
During the summer, there's car shows during the day. Everybody wants to know where to go on Sunday night. So I believe
Right.
we made that decision to go Sunday nights. It was the right call.
Spent the weekend with the wife. Got time to get away. Got to get away.
Where did it? You know, Dick? Where did you start out at as far as a cruise is? You mentioned before you've done some other ones.
I was with just a great group of guys. We were the Valley Cruisers, and we did the Chili's event. And whether you know the manager over there or not, we got pretty close with him, and and have done some pretty cool things with him over the years. But yeah, I want to say we were probably over the Southern Park Mall at Chili's for probably about 10 years. And the mall got a little tough, kind of forced us out. And that just kind of ended. When I ended with that, we kicked off Quaker Steak Lube.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of years of fundraising. And I always focused on kids. I always wanted our money to go to kids.
Mhm.
You know.
And during the years, you know how much you've raised for, you know, the kids.
How much?
How much?
Oh, geez.
A lot, right?
80, 100 grand,
Yeah.
probably over the
Uh-huh.
That's a lot for just.
Do you have one kids association you deal with, or There's a bunch of them.
What we did as of late, we actually called it Chops with the Firemen. And we had some connections with the Austintown schools, so I would connect with the Austintown guidance counselors.
Mhm.
They truly had the needy family, which
Sure.
was great. And what we would do is we would award the money in the form of gift certificates, gift cards. And I'd actually hop in the fire truck with firemen and I would divvy them up. I would make sure that they had groceries. I would make sure they had some gloves and coats and things like that. If there were small children in the family, then I would get some Toys R Us or things like that. But try to provide necessities, not just wasteful money.
You guys did some stuff with the pandemic too, right? Weren't you handing out food there?
Yeah, we put together a food drive. It was very, very successful. Loop helped us out. I mean, they gave us the whole patio area. And we took so many donations. We had the entire patio full of groceries. And people much smarter than me decided we were going to set it up actually like a grocery store. The peanut butter was with the peanut butter. And when it came time to pack, the boxes were all ready and everything was set up perfectly as though you're going to the grocery store. And we loaded up, I can't remember now how many boxes. We had 300 or something like that.
Wow. So all different families, huh? Great.
Yes.
But where do you get all the food at? I always wondered that. You see all this food given out and everything. Is it just different people, different businesses or?
Truly donations. We got a lot of on Facebook. We got a lot from Facebook. We had a trailer sitting down there to take it. And we did 5 days of accepting donations. And that was overwhelming. We ended up lines of cars pulling up to donate, and most of it was brand new stuff. We actually rooted through every piece that we got because there were some people that cleaned out their pantries and gave some out of dates that we had to throw away.
Yeah, that happens, Yeah. But now you pretty much run a business here, correct, Dick?
Yeah, local car dealership. Yes.
Okay.
We're right behind you here on South Avenue.
Okay. So basically what you told me earlier was you were going to donate one of your cars at our car show, correct?
I don't think you and I were on the same page on that one.
I thought I heard that too, Greg.
Yeah, I know. I really did.
That was a great thought. I like it. I like the sound.
Well, it's direct sales and leasing, correct? It's up there. He's got a ton of stuff. I mean, the lot's full of nice cars. So,
Hey, Dick, used cars are bringing big bucks right now, aren't they?
I've been in this business for over 30 years and I've never seen a market like it is right now. It's crazy. It's crazy.
What's the cause of that?
A lot of it is because new car dealers aren't getting inventory right now. Whatever the chip is or whatever. Yes, it's crazy right now. The wholesale business is crazy.
Now, what about trade-ins? I mean, let me ask that question. People getting top dollar for their trade-ins now.
And they really and truly are. People are, especially the new car dealers that can't get new inventory. They're desperate for inventory and they're dying for late model pre-owned vehicles.
Because and I go by Dick's business quite a bit in my travels for Armstrong, and it's always stuff in and out, front and back. So you must be making a ton of sales, on this after this pandemic.
It's crazy times. It really is.
Yeah.
And all those times that you've gone by, to ever recall you pulled in and bringing a cup of coffee? I don't know.
Because you said you would not donate a car to us. Otherwise, you could have a whole. I'll bring you one of those Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
I got to tell you, I think Rick and I are sometimes on the same page. Maybe it's a beer that he needs to drop off.
I'll bring you a keg of beer if you donate a car.
That's it.
So,
Dick, what type of cars you deal with? Just anything?
Oh God, everything, anything. I mean, we're all car guys. You'll find a few Harley Davidsons laying around. You'll find a golf cart. You'll find a hot rod. Just in and out was a 1939 Dodge Coupe, which was just a very cool hot rod.
Okay.
A little bit of everything and anything,
Mm-hmm.
They're all fun. They're all toys.
yeah, everything.
Oh yeah.
They're all toys.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dick, let me put you on hold just for a second. Pat, I wanted to ask you, how long have you been interested? Have you been interested in motorcycles and anything with wheels since you were a kid, or how did you get started in this nightmare of the sickness that we all have?
I had older brothers and I've been involved with
That's how
mini
I got
bikes,
involved.
go-karts, motorcycles, cars, hot rods. I actually, I'm retired from the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company.
There
I
you
ran
go.
service centers for many years and then worked for Pep Boys as a commercial salesman, and always had motorcycles going on at the same time. Pretty much anything that, goes fast, makes noise and gets you in trouble, I love.
What are you sporting now, Pat?
I have a Kawasaki Versys. I've sold everything except for one motorcycle, which is the first time in forever. I can't remember the last time I only had one motorcycle. I got a Kawasaki Versys.
What's the Versys? How big?
Versys, the one I have is a 650.
Okay.
It's not
Comfortable.
not a big
Yes.
bike, but it's enough
Mhm.
to travel on. One up.
Mhm.
We have a Mini Cooper, so my wife and I can
I
enjoy
thought- those
open
are-
air together.
Those are fun, aren't they?
Oh,
I've
it's a
never
blast.
driven one, but people say you hop in one of those, man, you'll love it.
It's a go-kart on steroids.
Uh-huh.
It really is.
That's true.
I've had Mustangs, I've had Camaros, I've had all kinds of stuff over the years on it. My son has a S15 with a 383 stroker in it, hot rod that he's messed around with,
Oh my gosh.
along with a couple of motorcycles. And it's just, something we do. We love it all. We love it all.
Good.
Love going to car shows. Love
Yes.
going to motorcycle shows.
That's what it's all about. Yep.
I gotta ask one question. I like to ask everybody this. The one regret you regret selling, the car or motorcycle or anything like that you regret getting rid of.
I went through college with a 65 Ford Mustang X Hertz rent-a-car.
Oh,
And
Ching ching.
I drool every time I see one,
Uh-huh.
and wish I had never sold it on it. But, back then they were pretty common. You always figured you'd get another one.
now the opposite. What was the car you couldn't wait to get rid of, or the motorcycle?
I had a Ford Maverick for 3 days.
3
Oh, yeah.
days.
3 days too long, huh?
Now, how come it was 3 days and not longer than that?
I bought it to flip it, and I did.
Okay. I thought he had it 3 days and the engine blew up, or
No. I could tell you stories about that type of thing happening, but it's never happened to me.
What's the Maverick? Is that like a Pinto? Or is it a
That was
little
kind of in
bigger?
between the Pinto and a full-size car. It was an economy car.
Yeah.
I had Pintos too. I had probably 3 or 4 different Pintos.
Oh, yikes.
I'm sure Dick
Back
could
then,
tell
you
us
could
a lot
buy a
of
car
stories.
for $100. Drive it
Mhm.
until it died on the side of the road and walk away.
Yeah. Now, Dick, do you have a story on that one?
I played with cars since I was a kid, and bought and sold because I got tired of them real quick. My buddies used to tease me because I just sold the one because it must have needed an oil change.
Must have been a rough oil change.
Really find a special one or a worse one. So.
It was that Ferrari. It was 7,000 to change the oil, right?
Yeah.
What was that?
Rick said it was a Ferrari that, it's cost 7,000 to
Oh,
change
yeah,
the oil.
yeah.
Hey, Pat, I was wanting to circle back to the pandemic of about a year ago at this time, where the Star was canceled, and the main featured speaker was going to be Wendy Crockett, who is if you're in the long distance riding circles, you know about Wendy, and I've met her and interviewed her several times. I want to let you know, Pat, that today is Wendy's birthday, and I sent her a congratulations
Oh.
from.
I did not realize that.
Yeah.
We had hoped to have her this year, but there's an Iron Butt Rally thing going on that Star conflicts with, so she wasn't able to make it this year.
I had to laugh. She traveled like 32 or 3,800 miles to get over to Newcastle, Pennsylvania, a couple years ago at the beginning of one of the 11-day bike events. did 11 days, 11 or 12,000 miles, and then turned right around and rode 3,200 miles back to California. And I thought I was pretty good, but I'm
Wow.
not
Oh,
compared
no,
to that
she's,
gal. There's a rider,
she's in a
boy.
class of her own.
Yes.
Say, how does your back hold up to that? I mean,
Actually, you know, if your bike's set up, it's easier to ride at least it is for me to ride a bike 1,000 miles than drive a car 1,000 miles. Honestly, it just is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, Larry, I wonder if Pat ran into Lisa. Lisa with the women's, what was her association one we had on a couple weeks ago with women's
Elisa
motors?
Elisa Clickinger.
Clickinger. Yes.
Clickinger.
Yes, I know her. Yes.
Okay, we had her on a couple weeks ago, and she puts
She was
20,
phenomenal.
30,000 miles on a year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and she was a phenomenal speaker, a good spokesperson for the
very
organization.
good.
Did a nice
Yeah.
job.
Mhm.
You know.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, we do a little bit with that organization as far as communication and a little bit of cross promotion of events where we try to support. We have quite a few women members in our club, so we are big supporters of women riding on it. We think it's something everybody can do on it.
Are you getting more and more women every year? Does it look
Yeah.
like that?
Oh, yeah,
Does it?
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
those
I'm
women,
happy about that.
those women put me to shame. They come in with those big fat boys and everything, those big Harleys. And I got to say 8.3 Sportster. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Well, no, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
No.
You know,
It's funny you mentioned that, Rick, because I sold all the Beamers, sold all the sport bikes. I have the KLR, but I'm still putting that back together. And so all I have is my 1995. I bought it. I sold it. I bought it new, sold it to a guy in West Virginia. And then I don't know, might have been a couple of years ago, I called him up and I bought it back. And I got about 24,000. I put in between Daytona and a trip I took down to Marietta and blasted around there. I probably put about 2,000 miles on it already this year.
Mhm.
Just turning around with it.
Oh, this year. Yikes.
Yeah. Just
It's starting out to be a beautiful year for a motorcycle. You know that.
it's going to be
The
terrific.
weather's perfect. Yeah.
And speaking of that, you know, Pat, you mentioned earlier in the show the BMW RA, which is the Riders Association. Why don't you talk a little bit about how that joint association became and how it's benefiting both clubs?
I ran across a gentleman from the BMW RA some years back, a guy named Chris Parker, and started communicating with him. And he, at that time, we do a club magazine, and we were looking for somebody to take over the layout duties of our magazine. And Chris does them for the BMW RA magazine. Beautiful magazine, and has taken over the duties for us. We're a smaller organization, have a smaller magazine, but he does a fantastic job. And then we got talking more and more with other people in the BMW RA, and we realized that that we had a lot in common. Our events are very similar. We do stuff in the same areas on it, and our members are very, very similar. It turns out that the BMW RA did a survey of their members and found out that virtually every one of them owns something in addition or in place of a BMW. They had multi-brand motorcycle people there. We have multi-brand motorcycle people in our club. It just seemed like a natural fit to work together. So we try to promote their events on our website and in our calendar and to our members, and they promote our events to their members. And we all work together and have a great time. I mean,
It's all about the fun. Yep.
Yeah. That's, whether it's motorcycles or cars,
Right.
boats, planes, anything like that, it's all about the people getting together and having fun.
That's it.
And one of the unique things, and I mean truly unique about the MSTA, is the Dan Clark Safety Fund. Why don't you speak about that, Pat?
Okay. We have Dan Clark was a member who passed away at one of our rallies, had an accident. And fortunately, these things, they're very, very uncommon. Unfortunately, over a 40-year period, we've had a few of those. His family decided that in his memory, what they'd like to do is to make a donation to the club to be used by members to purchase safety gear. We're a very much safety gear club. You come to our events, everybody's wearing helmets. most people are wearing full jackets, riding suits, gloves. We take it serious. We want people to be able to ride for a long time and stay safe. So what that does, and the family continues to make a donation every year. We collect money from members. Some of the rallies we put on, we take all the proceeds and it goes into the Dan Clark Fund. Then a member of the club can purchase a jacket, a helmet, go to a riding class, what have you, can turn a receipt in to the coordinator, and he can be paid up to $100 per item out of that fund per year. So I go buy a helmet, new helmet, because my old one's 5 years old. It's time for a new one. Send a receipt in. 6 months later, I get a check in the mail from the club for $100. And we
What
give
kind of
out
helmet you get, Pat?
probably $4,000, $5,000 a year to the members, to the membership. And we still have money left over because people donate all the time when they renew their membership, or they go to a rally and go, hey, I want to make a $20 donation to the Dan Clark Fund. It adds up,
Mhm.
What kind of helmet you get, Pat?
I got a Scorpion
Scorpion, okay.
on it this time. I've had my helmet and gear collection has far outreached my motorcycle collection from years ago. It continues to grow.
Mhm.
They
Well,
might
you
be
know
a
what-
little less expensive than the motorcycles. You keep collecting them, they take up less room, right?
Well,
Yeah.
not necessarily anymore.
Yeah. There are some guys that actually collect these racing helmets from like the MotoGP guys. And you're talking about, $1,200-$1,500 for a helmet
Yeah.
and autographed and stuff. But I think you really know when you're in trouble, when you have a Twix candy bar moment, is when two things happen. If you're dumb enough to open up all of your registration renewals in front of your wife and she finds out how many Twix you
No.
have, or you're out there counting your gloves and you're setting like 18 pair out. She goes, dear God, what do you need? And I go, well, this is for early spring. This is like right after early spring, but not when it's really, really hot yet. These ones are for when it's really, really hot. But these ones here are like early fall, but not when it's really cold, but just a little cold. These ones are for rain. And that's the way it is. And I mean, I'm out there and I have a duffel bag full of gloves now that when I go on a trip, I decide, well, let me look at the weather. Is it going to be hot, or is it going to maybe be hotter, or is it going to be rainy and cold?
Well, The argument there is, if they complain, it's like, let's go up your shoe closet. Let's see. If you want me to have one pair of gloves, you have one pair of shoes.
That's
Well,
good, Greg. That's
you know
good.
what? I'd like to tell you that would work, but it wouldn't, because
No,
she
I-
looks
I-
at me and she goes,
no.
wait a minute, you got how many?
No.
You have off-road riding boots, then you have ATV riding boots, then you have wet riding boots, then you have like warmer weather riding boots. She goes,
Uh-huh.
you have more boots than any woman, more shoes than any woman I know, and more gloves too. And let's talk about your jackets now.
Oh, no, don't go there. Don't go there.
She'll say to me, you know what? If we need something for the house and it's $100, you're like, I don't know, can we come on? But then you need $1,000 part for one of your bikes, man. You write that
It's
check
like right there. You got it. That's the way I think too.
It's a matter of priorities. That's
Mhm.
all it is,
And you know what you tell her? Look, Mary, that's my lovely wife of 46 years. I said, Mary, I'm only on two wheels. The tires, they're 150 or $200 a piece. You need to have some of the best tires, and you need to have really, really good brakes. And I need to have a good Arai helmet, and I need to have a really good jacket. And and how are they going to say no? Because they know that you have a big life insurance policy. So, okay.
After a few years, okay, you're full of it. Number one, and if you say, do you value my life, honey? And she start to question that after a few years.
Yeah, I
I
can't
can't value your life like that much.
She goes, you're never around. Can I value you?
Yeah.
So
Hey, Pat, is all that safety equipment required at your events?
No, it's
No?
not required.
Mhm.
And there are people that won't, wear a helmet. There's
You're
people
always
that
going to
don't.
find those, yeah.
But it's just we encourage it, and we encourage it by putting our money where our mouth is.
You only need a helmet when you fall. So,
Yeah, I've got a couple of examples of that.
yeah,
It helped a lot.
I always,
Yeah.
I started dirt racing, okay, when I was younger, 16, 17. And the helmet was the first thing on my head because you bash into trees and curbs and, stones. And it's first thing on my head now when I ride. So,
Yeah, we like I said, we encourage it. And I would say that 99% of the people that are going to come to one of our events are going to be wearing a helmet, if nothing else. And what I've found over the years is that not only does it make me safer, it also, proper gear will make you a lot more comfortable.
Yes,
It'll
absolutely.
keep, in really, really hot temperatures, I'm better off having a jacket on to shield my skin than to be riding in the sun, because that sun's going to burn me.
yeah.
And the jacket won't. It'll protect me and keep me out of the sun.
What do you
Think
have?
about that.
What do you have for the summertime for a jacket?
I have a mesh. I have a mesh jacket and pants that I can wear.
Okay.
See, now we're getting into the things my wife doesn't need to know. How many different suits I
All
have.
right, we'll edit that out,
Where-
Greg.
Where do we send her the copy of this podcast?
Yeah. He's supposed to send us a bike.
I got a suit for the track. I got a one-piece touring suit for commuting. I got another, two-piece suit for travel that's waterproof. I've got a rain suit. I've got a mesh suit. I've got a few other things down in the basement that I've outgrown or, need to sell or, should give away. Not to mention all the stuff I have given away. And then you go to my son's house.
He's writing it
stuff
down.
he's taken. Like, yeah, I've got a couple of motorcycles tied up in gear.
Let's slide over to Dick a little bit, huh?
Hey, Dick, Dick, I got a question for you. If the trends, you've done this, the car cruises quite a few years, the trends you've seen change. That's always another question I like to ask. The trends that, have you seen different cars, different people, or, for example, like in the car shows, I know when me and Rick go out to these shows, these people are coming in later and leaving earlier. It seems like, they used to be beating down the doors right an hour before the car show started, and then you'd have to wait for them to leave. And now we've seen them come later, as example in our car show, and they leave a couple hours after, an hour, 2 hours, they're leaving earlier. Now, what other trends have you seen that's changed?
What really makes me a little bit sad is there's no kids in our hobby.
Oh, yes, that's for sure.
It makes me sad because
Mhm.
all of us grew up, that was our lives, life
Mhm.
around our cars, our bikes, whatever it may have been. And there's no young kids in the hobby. So I truly get excited when I see a young kid pull in driving a Chevy Cavalier that he's proud of, because that's just important to him as our 69 Chevelles were.
Sure it
I
is.
love seeing young kids get into the hobby.
Mhm.
And we're all old now, but a lot of the older guys are mad because today you have brand new Challengers pulling in, and brand new Corvettes pulling in, and brand new Mustangs. And I couldn't tell you how many times I got slapped over the years. Why do I let these cars in? And my explanation is very, very simple. They're beautiful cars and people want to look at them.
Mhm.
So all of that's changed a bit. But yeah, I mean, today we build a heck of a muscle car that are gorgeous. I want to look at them.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And a perfect example of that, I don't think, that might have changed, but it was that way when I was growing up. I've been in the cars my whole life. Well, I was I'm not even going to mention the car club's name. I had a Chevy and a Ford, and I bought a Beetle, and you thought they were going to shoot me. And they kicked me out of the club for owning a foreign car. And I was a young kid. They're like, you're a young kid buying a foreign car. You can't be in the club doing that. Well, that was a long time ago. Now I'm getting being one of the old guys here, but it made me realize that you need kids, and it doesn't matter what you're driving or you're riding. Anything goes. They're proud of it. Who cares? I keep telling my son, he had a Eclipse, and I come out to our shows. I'm embarrassed of my car. Who cares?
Yeah.
Just come out and enjoy it. It doesn't matter what you're driving.
Hey, Dick, I got a question for you. When you look at the hobby of cars, and I've got that 40th anniversary Corvette, and we've seen the value of C4 Corvettes, which are 84 to 96, just skyrocket in the last year. So our hobby, and if you've watched any of the Mika Model auctions, you can see that everybody's going crazy, top value for almost everything. But for any younger person that is watching this show or viewing the podcast, what car would you recommend for a young person to try and get into an entry level position where he could work on it, fix it up a little bit? But what model would you or manufacturer would you recommend for someone just beginning to get involved?
Somebody just beginning, I'd say you get into a 70s vehicle before you get into all the electronics and whatnot. And I think that's where you would want to start.
Mm-hmm.
And in talking about values going up, I think right now the values are getting a little bit crazy, but I have this thought, and often as we talk about young people not being into our hobby, 10 years from now, who's going to want our 55 Chevys or 67 Camaros? If the kids aren't into it, what's going to happen to the value of these vehicles as time goes on and further? God knows our hobby is huge. There's billions of dollars out there in old hot rods.
Well, look at a 69. If you got an original GTO Judge, I mean, that thing is commanding. I had a 69, and I'll tell you, I wish I had it now. It just commands. You're talking almost for a nice one. I want to say 60 grand is what I saw for one. I'm not too long. All original one.
God, Larry, I would have guessed even higher than that.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah,
higher than
yeah.
that. Some of them are really going up there. Yep.
And that's why kids can't get into this. I mean, especially if a guy's just getting started in life, get a house, get family going, stuff like that. I mean, you don't have 35,000 grand to put out for a starter 55 Chevy kind of thing,
Nor did we, but we made what we had work.
There's another option.
We had what we made work. We worked on, we shoe shined on, we polished it, we put a nice set of wheels on it. We made that car work for us until we got that a better car and more expensive car. But you start somewhere,
There's always an option, for the kids out there that, you go get a $3,500 Miata, and start building that. I mean, you get your, again, my son just bought a 3000 GT to 95, but he paid a good price for it. And he's dumping money into it. You don't see them anymore. It's something he's really proud of. Who cares?
And you should be proud of it.
Yeah.
That's probably the way to go now. I mean, you can get one of those spiders, or I forget what they call them, like little 2-seater covers, and you can get into those for $3 or $4 grand, and then go out on crossing or go to some car shows, and then start working your way up on it. That'd be a fun kind of thing.
That's what we all did, when we started.
You buy it and you make it yours one way or another, whatever.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just have fun with it. That's all.
Just have fun. That's the key.
Pat, got a question. If one of the, talking about the younger generation getting into this, what would you suggest of getting into a cheaper bike to start?
Buy a used naked bike. Okay, by that don't buy the the CBR 600 RR Honda race replica and all that. Buy a mid-size 500, 600 cc motorcycle that doesn't come with all the body work on it, because chances are you're going to drop it. And when you do drop it, it's not going to hurt as much to drop it. They're cheaper to own. They're cheap to insure. That we have found has become a real problem for a lot of younger riders that want the really fast motorcycles, is they can't afford the insurance. Because the insurance companies have just jacked the rates up.
There's another issue. Yeah.
And it's like, why did the really powerful street cars go away? Well, because the insurance companies priced us out of them. The muscle car died because of that. So something like that. Don't go out and buy something brand new and start making payments on it and all that. Especially if you're just getting into it and learning, it's not worth it. And truthfully, you'll never use all the performance that new Corvette or that new motorcycle is going to give you. You know.
It's sure nice to have it under your foot.
But when you're 18, 19, 20, it's probably not a good idea.
No.
It wasn't for me. I know that.
There's a lot of older bikes out there with few miles on it. You
Yeah.
know, people don't
Oh, gosh,
drive.
yeah.
They'll sit for a number of years and say, hey,
Yeah.
here's one that's got 3,000 miles on it. It's
Yeah.
15 years old or something like that, 20 years old.
I
It's like
bought
a brand new
a
bike.
I bought a Ninja 650 a couple of years ago that had 2,900 miles on it. It was
Yeah.
4 years old, had 2,900 miles on it.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
my son bought an 04 Buell Blast,
Yes.
3,200 miles on it.
Yeah.
But he dumped it once. He was starting to learn to ride. He dumped it and he's scared to ride it. It's like you need to get up and
Gotta get back on the
up
horse.
on it.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
the other thing I said to a lot of people is buy a dirt bike. Learn to, if you have an area that you can go ride it in,
Mhm.
you know, out in the farmer's fields or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I learned on. That's what my son learned on it. And it was like, you know, I bought a old Honda 100 for $500,
Mhm.
and we took it out in the fields and
That-
took turns riding it, and we both fell, and you know, and turned around and sold it for what we paid for it a few years later when he got older. You know,
That's
we
how
got a
I
bigger
learned
bike.
it. I had a heck of a time in the dirt. You know, we were always falling. You know, but
Yeah.
you always
Yeah.
get back up and
Get back
get going again. Yeah.
You know,
I had
on it.
Kawasaki's and Yamahas, and
Well,
it
now
was fun.
Now the parents would sue the companies or try to sue the companies because their child got scratched or something.
Oh no! Oh no!
You know,
It ain't like it used to be.
Uh-huh.
We got a
Something
few
companies have-
minutes left. Larry, I wanted to hit you up first and see if you got any more questions or comments or anything before we wrap this episode up.
No, I think it's going to be a tremendous year for riding a motorcycle. I want to encourage anybody that if you're a beginner, you know, you can go to the state of Ohio for the MSF training, rider coach training. I think anytime that you invest in yourself when riding in a motorcycle is always a great thing. To echo what Pat said, all the gear, all the time, good helmet. Not, you know, the worst thing you can do is go out and get a poorly fitting helmet, one that is not, you know, DOT's a standard. What they used to be Snell, now it's ECU. You know, some of the better helmets are going to have a secondary regulation issuing thing like ECU. And so the most important thing is to go and get a helmet and get it fitted properly. And
You recommend a chin guard? You recommend the helmet with the chin guard on it?
well, if it's going to be an ECU helmet, it's
It's
going
going
to
to be
be
a full helmet.
helmet. If you have a flip up, those are not impact resistant because and Shoei makes a great thing, a Neotech, but the problem is that those aren't, well, the old standard was Snell, but now the ECU, so those are not approved because it could pop open on an impact sideways, you know. So any full face helmet is generally rated higher than a flip front or an open front kind of a helmet.
Okay.
But
I got
Pat
a
said-
$200 Harley helmet. Are those any good?
I don't know what's the brand and what's the
Just a Harley Davidson helmet. I'm not.
The
Someone
full
makes them for Harley, obviously. Huh?
yeah. Well,
Okay.
I've got I happen to like Arai because I just kind of raced with them and I stayed with them, you know. But there's a lot of good helmets out there.
Mhm.
You know, as Pat was saying, Scorpion, this, that, what, you know, you just mostly you have to have one that fits good. It's got a good portal. There's a whole science. You know, I did a whole tutorial on my motorcycle show with Snell one time, spent half the show talking about what makes a good helmet, you know. And I got to tell you, I have an off-road helmet that is made by AFX, which is not a top tier brand at all. You know, it's a little bit above entry level, but at one time was Snell approved. And now the difference is between that and say an Arai is that it doesn't have a removable skull cap, doesn't have as wide a portal. It's not as light at all. You can't peel away the inserts on the inside to custom fit it. You know, it either it fits or it don't, or it will fit it when it breaks in. But it was Snell approved helmet. It was like $150. I mean, you that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But you know, we wear gloves that have armor in them. We have pants that have hip armor. You'd be surprised. You go down, you know, you'd be surprised how banged up your hip kit.
Do you like?
I'll leave you with one. Oh, go ahead.
Do you like Bluetooth in a helmet?
Well,
Excuse me.
I have for the longest time, man. I loved the smelling the smells, hearing the sounds. but then I hung around Norm Kern too much. And I think at our star a couple years ago, Pat, I bought a Senna 20S, and I'll tell you, I don't think I'd ever go back. And I don't listen really to music, but I get all my prompts. I never have to look at my GPS except occasionally because I get my prompts through my headset in my helmet. I also can take and receive all my calls. I don't get that many, but it's awful nice if it's an important call, not have to stop the bike. So you can tap the headset and talk to the person, tap again, and you're done. And so I kind of like that. And also the new one, the 50 mesh, you don't have to do a lot of discombobulations to connect 3 or 4 people up. It just meshes them all up. And
that's neat. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, one of the things I learned, I'm a ham radio operator, but I didn't bring my little radio, but my buddy did. And the people we rode with up in the Allegheny Mountains, they all had ham radios. So they gave me a little, what we call, it's a 2-meter 5-watt radio, but it's got like an 8-mile radius. Well, when you're up in the mountains, you're not going to get, if you got an accident or something, you can't get cell coverage. But we're on what they call simplex. So that means one radio talks to the other on the same frequency. So who's ever on that frequency, you can talk to them. And I talked to guys that were literally 4 or 5 miles away trying to find out where we would meet up and that. So I am a convert now to communications on the motorcycle. And I think it's just, I laugh, and Pat would probably tell you the same thing, back in the day, and I mean back in the day when I was like 16, 17, 18, I took my first trip when I was 18 years old, and I had an old leather saddlebags, and my dad gave me a jacket that they would wear in the blooming mill in the steel furnaces. It was green, and he gave me a set of welder's gloves, and I took off, and I thought a big trip to Aurora, Ohio. Well, it rained all the way back, and that's when I first found out it's not good to be in the rain without a full face helmet.
Yeah.
It might
feels like
the
needles.
jackets might be great to get rid of the heat, but they're like a giant sponge. So my 135-pound body when I was 17 weighed 250 pounds. I couldn't get off the bike. My mom had to help me off the bike. But we've come on, and I'll tell you, at one time, if you didn't stick it in your jacket or in your pants pockets or tape it to the gas tank, you didn't take it. Yeah. And if you broke, you figured it out. Or you thumbed your way back to somewhere where somebody could help you get a truck and go get your bike. It was just a different time then. Yeah. And so when you look back, there were some great things about being a kid growing up and what I call the golden age of motorcycling. But at the same time, there's some really, really great things that make it a lot safer and a lot enjoyable now. One last thing, the Grand Master of Ceremonies for the AMA this year is none other than the guy that starred on any Sunday. Who is the Harley Davidson? Marco? Pat, do you remember him?
I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of the name either.
Right. He was on any Sunday, and I interviewed him 20 years ago when he was the Grand Marshal the last time. So, yeah. And he had a really unique, really cool story about Steve McQueen that I thought was awesome. So I'll share that with maybe everybody the next time. All right.
Pat, where can we find information about the touring association?
www.ridemsta.com.
And the dates again for that?
The dates of the Star Rally are June 13 through 16.
Okay.
In Canaan Valley, West Virginia.
All right. And Dick, if you're looking for a used car, no, pre-owned, not used, pre-owned, where can we find you at?
You can find me at Direct Sales and Leasing at 8141 South Avenue, Boardman, Ohio.
All right. And we're going to wrap it up. You've been either listening to the Street Scene Power Hour on Buzzsprout, or you're watching this on our Armstrong Neighborhood channel. You can check that out. We've got all our episodes up there. Or, catch Rick and I at a show, catch Larry at a show. We'll be around. So
we got three shows coming up here real quick.
Yep. So if you missed Papa Dave's that we're going to be at on on the
29th, Saturday the 29th.
Saturday 29th.
You can go to the Thunder Fest at the Niles High School on the 5th from 11 to 4.
And then,
Or
Or the
then
big
after
one.
that, we're going to the big one down in Salem, the Super Cruise on the
Yep.
11th and 12th. We're going to catch the cruise itself this year, right?
yep, yeah, we're gonna do the cruise itself. So,
Uh-huh.
well,
Is-
keep listening. And Rick, take it away.
Hey, we'll see you down the road.
All right, thanks everyone. We'll see you later.
Good Memorial Day, everybody.